Guys, welcome back. You've seen the weekly candles, right? We've pretty much been sideways for the entire month of April, and the market is just kind of waiting for the next big move. We've been discussing this for the past 2 weeks, right? Pretty much don't have anything new to add because, again, we knew 4160 is the level of resistance, right? The market has to break over it briefly, right? Last week we briefly moved over it, but as you can see right here, the bulls didn't have enough momentum, rejected, we came back down, but again, we haven't broken down either, right? We all know that how many ever times we reject, the faster the failure would be, right? But as you can see here, it does have this level of support, right? At 4100, that support has not been broken either. So both the scenarios are still kind of intact. We are just chopping, and the next move will be aggressive, right? Because as you can see, last time we chopped, right? What ended up happening once we chopped is we went down about 8%. So again, an 8% move in either direction is coming, right? This week or next week. 8% higher would be about 4,500, right? And 8% lower would be about 3,800, which would be our, expected target. So again, we'll go through the two scenarios we're looking at. Number one is we have, right, the first level of support where this wave could end is 3,950. If we bounce and again fail, then we're very likely, going to come test this 3,820 level, right? Before we have that one more move to the upside. And again, if we finally manage to break out of this 4170, 4180, then as discussed, right, till 4350, 4320, there is no resistance. If we break over that, then the next target would be 4450, 4500. But yeah, I am looking for this wave to kind of finish out in this area before we come down for the C wave. And obviously the more bearish case is that, again, I can draw, right? If I draw a trend line this way, you can see that this does have a mini channel, right? Rejection here, rejection here, rejection here. So what also could end up happening is that this fails, right? And this is where your B wave ends, and we have a major C wave to the downside. I still put this as the least probable, right, out of all the three scenarios. So I'm just kind of waiting and watching to see, right? We have to break this range at some point, and when the range breaks, we'll have a direction. And the dollar, again, has also, right, it made that new low, but we're kind of just like sideways, right? And you can see this is the downtrend line on the dollar. We've just kind of been rejecting and hugging that line. So if the dollar breaks down, market breaks out. If the dollar breaks out of this, then the market is going to break down. So, yeah, we know that correlation already. We look at the 10-year, again, it did break out, but again, as we've discussed, this is resistance. If it fails, we could come back down to test the 2.73 level. It would need to break over 3.6 to, head up to 4, 4.25, etc. So that's what we got on the yields. With that being said, let's look at this week's watch list, right? And the first stock I have on this week's watch list is MU. And again, the reason for that is pretty simple, right? You can see this level at 65, major resistance, right? We pretty much rejected it like 5 times, and we've kind of gone sideways, right? So, we did break down again. If you look at it, right, this was the resistance level. Like we kind of held, right, in a $2 range, but it still did manage to break out, right? We broke down, which is why you saw the breakdown, and now we're kind of just sideways. So if it is to follow through with the breakdown, right, which would be what, would be the highly more probable trade, as long as, again, this is, right, the downtrend line, as long as we stay below, right, and this is the breakdown line. So this, again, if you zoom out, you can again see prior resistance levels. So this level right here at 62, as long as we stay below 62, right, I think if we do reject in this area, we are, right, we know it has a gap to fill at 58, right? And then we also know that it has a demand area, right? Once this gap fills, it bounces, and if it fails, we can see this bear flag, then immediately we know it's coming down to 53. So that's why I wanted to point out MU could be a pretty interesting one for, this week's watch list. Again, if we do, right, it's only bullish, right? I have set an alert, even bullish level, over 65. If for some reason we do manage to break out of 65, then we know downtrend is broken out of a sideways trend. Over 65, it probably, easy $10 move to the upside. Otherwise, chances are it likely comes down. Let's look at cost, right? Again, we know the cost is sideways and it's kind of just sideways in a channel right now. And this, again, we know the red line, it rejected it and it broke under the 200-day. So I'm going to, again, probability states if it does tend to break out, right? You can see this is the next supply zone, right? So very simple, right? This is a very nice looking chart, but we know it is against supply. So if it can break over this 510, 511, then it does have a gap to fill at 523, right? And it probably, runs up to 530. So nice $20 move. That is if it can break over supply. If it doesn't break over supply, then it'll probably come down to retest this fib level, right? Before it kind of does this. But yeah, bigger picture, any sideways bounce it has, right? I think into 2024, it will reject and come back, right? At some point before cost can be considered for long term. I do think that it will retest 390 at some point in the next 2-3 years. Yeah, I am looking for this pattern to play out. Bigger picture. But yeah, a smaller picture, I'm looking at if we do kind of break out in the market, I think cost could be a good, bullish trade. So the next one I have is Roblox, and it's very similar to MU in the sense that it rejected supply, right? And this was the uptrend. You saw the gap down on news. And again, this is previous resistance. So it's very simple. As long as we stay below 41, 42 and reject, the next major support, right, for Roblox isn't until 35.536, right? So almost a nice 12% move. So yeah, I'm pretty much looking to see if this mini flag breaks down and then we have a move back lower. If we can't break over 42, then again, it does have a gap to fill at 45. And you can kind of play that way as well. So that's what I had. Roblox, and the last one I have is BMY. Again, downtrend broken, right? This is also a trend line support. It's kind of why it's bounced. So yeah, pretty simple. If tech sells off, healthcare could get a bid, right? So if you do break over 71, I do think we can run up to 72 and even 73, 74. So yeah, this might be a good, if this is broken out, retested, if this holds, it could make for a nice move within this gap. So yeah, that's all I have for this week's watch list. Yeah, so far 4 weeks of sideways consolidation. Let's see if we break it this week. Thank you so much.